Good evening, everyone. I hope a lot of folks have showed up to pay their respects to Dean. Jill and I had a family medical emergency which pushed our plans back a week and interrupted our attending Dean's memorial. But we just felt we wanted to say something about Dean, all right? So I guess we've known Dean around 12 years from about the time we've had the marina. And the first thing that comes to mind when I try to think of a way to describe Dean, in words, if you will, is kind. Again, we've only known him 12 years. I can't speak to his earlier years or anything like that, but in the time I've known the man and Jill, I've always found him to be quite kind. He's never wanted to get in arguments with folks, at least in front of me. And I think that's important, and I think it's worthy of noting. He would sit out there and he loved to fly the kites. I've seen him flying multiple kites at one time, and for many people in the marina, they describe Dean as the kite guy. Some people know him as Dino, some people know him as Mugger, and so I just called him Dean. But when anybody in the marina is like, you know, that guy out there in the 700 that flies the kites all the time, I know exactly who they're talking about, and most people did. But again, getting back to kind, Dean just kind of did his thing. I think he enjoyed his time at the marina. He enjoyed flying. He would sit there and quote poetry quite often. I hope somebody wrote some of it down. Not that I'm a huge poet or appreciation thereof, but I did listen to some of it, and I thought it was pretty good. So you think things like that are silly until dude's not around no more, right? And then you're kind of like, damn, it would be all right if you're sitting right there right now, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, he's not going to be. That's just the life there, and that's how it goes. Oh, Dean loved everything about flying, and I believe he knew more about airplanes than I do. He would quote this make and model and all that sort of stuff, and how fast it could fly and what year it was produced, and you know, of course he is a military man, and they use that in this branch and so on and so forth. And I'm like, man, I don't know, I can fly the son of a bitch, but he knew more about makes and models than I did. And if that man hasn't asked me 100 times, I want to pay you for some tack time, I'm going to take you up flying and all this stuff. And quite honestly, I have had Dean up in the airplane, but I don't think enough now that I look back at it, because you're always busy doing something, me and everybody, right? And again, when somebody's gone, you think you always have time for that stuff, and you don't. So one of the last times I talked to him, I told him, get your place cleaned up and I'll take you flying. And he started cleaning it up. But anyway, again, I hope a whole bunch of people showed up for the service here. And remember, Dean was a kind person, and it should kind of get us where we all treat folks a little bit better. And if there's somebody that maybe ignore a little bit, so on and so forth, try to make a little bit of time and speak with them. Just find a little more time in their life. Now, Dean, when he would run around the marina, and if he happened to have a day off or something, it always worked. I've never known Dean to miss work whatsoever. But if he was off, and we're always pitting around doing something around the marina. For example, when we put the road in on a 700 row, he ran the roller for Nelson Brothers and ran, got the road real nice when we put it in. Now, over the course of 8 or 9 years, it ended up where he built the whole road, which is cool. We're all about that. So let's just go ahead and say he built the whole 700 road. We'll remember it like that. Last year we was driving pilings for the Coochie Bar, and he just showed up, and I was having a hard time keeping the pilings straight. I was working by myself, the crew was working somewhere else, and he just jumped right in there, and help guide the pilings, always willing to help. So I remember it like that. I think that's a good thing. So, Jill, is there anything you'd like to say?
Dean absolutely loved LP, and he loved the members there. And he loved to fly kites. So every time you fly a kite at LP, you can think of Mr. Dean Miller.
All right, well, let's not make this too sad. I hope everybody leaves as positive note as they can this evening, and don't put yourself in a bind either. If you have any issues, get somebody to drive you home. All right, we don't want anybody getting hurt. Enjoy your evening, and just remember Dean.
Yep.
All right. And again, we're sorry we can't be there, but our plans were put off a week, and same type of thing, we had to deal with it. All right, everybody, goodbye.
Bye.